We're recording, and I'm going to start letting everybody in.
Okay. Well, welcome. I'm just going to let everyone come in real quick. All right. Well, welcome to our International Business Alliance Zoom presentation. My name is Sarah Pearson. I am the Executive Vice President with the Boca Chamber, and it is great to see our friends. Hi, Nancy. Good to see all y'all, Michael and Wolfman, both Michaels right next to each other on my screen. What we're going to do is, those of you that have come to this event in the past in person, it's a roundtable type of event. So everyone has the opportunity to introduce him or herself, talk a little bit about what they do, and then we have our speaker present. And then it's a lot more casual to where if there's a question during the presentation, you usually could just blurt it out when we were sitting in person. Obviously, this is a little different, so I'm going to have Chastity quickly tell you what to do if you have a question and just kind of give you the Zoom etiquette rules, and then I'll come back on. So, Chas?
All right. Welcome, everyone, to our virtual International Business Alliance. We're super excited for our speaker to be here today. So, like Sarah said, we're going to do this kind of as real as we can if we were together. So if you have any questions, you can go to your participants icon at the bottom of your Zoom screen. You can hover over the bottom, and you'll be able to see some little icons that say yes, no, go fast, go slow, and where you can raise your hand. If you forget to raise your hand by that way, you can shoot your little hand up in the screen. There's quite a few of you, so it'll take us a second to get to you. I do ask during the presentation for you to keep yourselves muted, and then you can unmute yourself when you're asking a question when called upon. This presentation is being recorded. You can find the recording after the presentation on the Boca Chamber's YouTube channel on the Events and Resources playlist. And if you wanted to ask a question and you didn't want to raise your hand and you didn't want to say who you were, you can put that question in the chat box and select Sarah Pearson, and then that will privately go to Sarah and she can ask your question. And enjoy the presentation.
Why, thank you, Ms. Chas. So in the interest of time, and there's a lot more people in this Zoom than there would be in person, I'm going to just ask each person to introduce, your name and your company, and not, your 30-second elevator pitch, and certainly not, where you were born and who your sisters and brothers and cousins are. So we're going to start with Wendy. I'm going to literally go in order, so nobody move. All right,
Wendy Rosenblatt, hello everyone, Style You, taking people to independent, assisted, and memory care.
Thank you. Renata.
Good morning, Renata Urban with Urban Training and Services. I do language, intercultural, and communication skills training.
Thank you. Mr. Wolfson. Oh, you were unmuted. There you go.
There you go. Hi, everybody. I'm Mike Wolfson, C3 Cloud Computing Concepts.
Thank you. Michael Corbett.
Michael Corbett with Career Source, Palm Beach County.
Wonderful. Patricia.
Patricia Chimino with Patricia Chimino Coaching. I help people hit their personal and professional goals.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Al Zaccaro. You got to unmute real quick.
Al Zuccaro, immigration attorney, World Trade Center, Palm Beach.
Thank you. And the Prophet.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nancy Prophet, President of Profit Management Solutions.
Thank you. Paula.
Paula Salas, Kloss Consulting. We are your in-house IT, but outsourced.
Wonderful. Thank you. Martine, our SWIB speaker for Thursday.
Yes, Martine Pierre-Paul with the Modern Etiquette and Leadership Academy.
Thank you. Maureen. Oh, you have to unmute.
Maureen Shea, CEO of Right Management. Delighted to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you. Morella.
Morella Villavicencio with Legal Shield and Ivy Shield.
Thank you. Louis.
Louis Stahl, Next Gen DX Web Medical Software Solutions.
Great to hear from you, Louis. Miss Valentina, Rockstar.
Hello, good morning. Valentina Moretti, Hispanic Entrepreneur Initiative, Hey.
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 Jessica.
Hi, good morning. Jessica Weiss with Weiss and Moy. I'm a PC. I'm an immigration attorney.
Thank you. And my beautiful friend, Donna.
Good morning or good afternoon. It's Donna Biazzi with Best Foot Forward.
Thank you, Donna.
Thank you.
Gary.
I think I'm unmuted. Hi, folks.
Yes.
Gary Natus, High Touch Business Services.
Thank you, Gary. Miss Sharon.
Good morning, Sharon Arnett with Keller Williams Realty.
Thank you. Paul. Paul. All right, April.
Hey, Paul has no phone. He just sent a chat message. He has
Okay.
no phone access, but he put a chat who he's with. And just as a suggestion or Zoom tip I learned, if you want to unmute yourself quickly, just hit your space bar. Then when you let go of your space bar, you go back to mute.
Thank you, Miss Nancy. Thank you. April. All right. My friend, Barbara, my mentor. Oh, I wonder if people are having a hard time unmuting. Oh, there she goes. Barbara, are you there? All right, Laura.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Laura Gilly with Lynn University.
All right, and going back to Barbara, Barbara is with Lynn University as well, and they are the hosts of this program, and hopefully will be the hosts again at some point soon. So I see Richard Pagan. It's connecting to audio. Can you introduce yourself,
He's
Richard?
not on yet. You can go to the next person, and then we'll get back to Richard.
All right. Oh, Isabel Garcia, all the way from Boston.
Yeah, hi, Sarah.
Hi.
Garcia with Rise Against Hunger. I'm a community engagement manager from Boston, Massachusetts.
We miss you.
Miss you guys.
All right. Karen McGuire.
Hi, yes, I'm Karen McGuire. I'm a program administrator at Tufts University in Boston as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Teresa.
She's still connecting to audio. She just joined us. There she is.
Teresa, you want to introduce yourself? Oh, you have to unmute yourself.
Hello. Yes, hi, how are you? I'm Teresa Bringas. I've been with the chamber for a while. Right now, I'm working together. Hello. I'm working together with Martine Pierre. We have the little academy, Little Ethics Academy and Leadership, that she's going to do a presentation next week. And it's good to see you here, guys.
Thank
nice
you.
And nice seeing you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye. And then Julissa.
Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Hi, I'm a sales director with Jax Imaging here in South Florida.
It's good to hear from you, Julissa.
Nice to see you all.
Christina.
Hi, good morning. My name is Christina Grenga. I'm a business owner with Schooley Mitchell. I'm in Delray Beach, Florida. We are cost reduction consultants, helping businesses reduce expenses. Thanks.
Thank you. And I think, Richard, are you able to get on now? Richard Pagan?
Is Rick Pagano. I am with All Dry USA. I am the operation manager of our corporate office.
Awesome. Thank you. And then Jessica, did you go? Weiss?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, you did. You did. All right. So I think, did I get everyone?
I believe so.
Speak up. If I didn't, I apologize. This is new to me. So, all right. So it's my pleasure now to introduce our speaker. I can tell you that he has traveled to this meeting farther than any of us, even farther than Isabel, who's in Boston right now because he is in Mexico City. But because of technology, it just seems like he's right here, right next door. So Daniel Garcia Atienza, originally from Caracas, Venezuela, has a major in engineering with postgraduate studies in marketing, finance, and people management. He has more than 15 years of experience in fast-moving consumer goods, which has the acronym of FMCG, and retail industries, managing businesses globally with experience in the marketing, finance, strategy, and commercial development areas. Starting in P&G managing the digital marketing campaigns in Latin America for 3 years, he then broadened his business experience by leading multiple business units in the business intelligence area for 5 years. 6 years ago, he switched industries, leading the finance department for a little company you all know called Under Armour, where he later transitioned to the commercial function to lead the expansion and the brand across 5 continents. Currently, he's the leader of strategic accounts of Under Armour Latin America and overall leader of the business strategy for Mexico. So without further ado, Daniel Garcia Atienza. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, guys. I'm glad to be here. Let me share my screen quickly. So while I share my screen and I fight with the technology, I just want to make sure that this is more of a conversation, guys. And I know that that's more the most used word before starting a presentation, but please feel free to interrupt me and ask questions as we go through. The idea, what we're going to be seeing here is more of what we do, of what I'm seeing in the industries. Okay, more of, as we know, coronavirus has basically changed the way that we do business and the way that we manage our teams, manage our agendas, how we engage with customers and with our teams, especially in terms of understanding and seeing more of an evolution on how we plan to work with our teams, and seeing that evolution to the work from home environment, which some people, and it's regardless of the age, is more based on the international experience and the mobile experience that they could have. It's on how we are allowing our teams as well to work remotely and how they are responding to us. And what are those type of crisis management processes or plans that we have been doing that I've seen in some different industries, and that I've realized it's apparent across the most successful companies during these days. So during these days, many industries are struggling. We're talking about airlines going Chapter 11, movie cinemas being closed for more than 3 months, entertainment. I mean, we're seeing Cirque du Soleil going as well, Chapter 11. Many restaurants as well not being able to cope with with these tough times, right? And not being able to react as quick as they would like. But there are other industries that are thriving. So just this week, Uber Eats announced that they are going to acquire Postmates by $2.6 million. Wolf & Puck closed all his restaurants, but he's now selling 11,000 air fryers a month. Lululemon is acquiring Mirror, another fitness industry, for $500 million. Tesla is even right now the most disruptive company in terms of in the car industry, leading the valuation, and now Elon Musk making $50 billion. Amazon, well, is tripling the business every month. Jeff Bezos is again the wealthiest man on earth after a divorce. Peloton is revolutioning the work at home industry. Mercado Libre is as well in Latin America, is bigger than Amazon. It's owned by eBay as well. And Zoom, the reason that we are here so close, has showed their untapped potential by adapting, by addressing issues, by attacking those flaws that they had since the beginning, and being on a constant evolution. So it's more than that. I mean, we have these these 2 types of industries. What we're seeing, and what we're seeing as well in my team, my team in Under Armour in Latin America, yes, we close all the stores, or customers close all the stores, and being Mexico such a large country, we're talking about, we have close to 1,000 stores closed in the country between our own and the customers. Yes, there were some weeks that were tough, but now we're growing 4 digits versus a year ago just on the website environment. So we're talking about growth of 2,000%, 10,000% year over year. And actually, in the past weeks, we are able to almost close the gap versus the close of the store. So with a website, I'm doing what last year 150 or 200 stores were doing. So it's more on how that reinvention and how we refocus our resources. So basically how I divide this crisis management in business is on 4 different pillars. We're talking about the brand, we're talking about the business, we're talking about the team, and the most times that as business leaders and as team leaders is the most neglected piece of this pie is ourselves. So as well, how we need to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, making sure that we find those spaces to say, okay, you know what? Being stressed out is okay. Needing a timeout, needing a break is okay, and how to manage. So it's just a quick understanding, a quick glance around this, and probably I'm not going to take the full 30 minutes, but it's more on those 4 areas that I want to speak today to you guys and have this conversation. Because of course I'm giving you this perspective from an employee from a large public traded company, but definitely as medium entrepreneurs and business people, I also would like to learn and understand your perspective and your learnings during these weeks of this pandemic. So talking about the brand, for me, is protect your most valuable asset. I don't care how large a company is, P&G, Under Armour, Nike, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter the amount of inventory that you have on hand. It doesn't matter the size of your factories. The most valuable asset a company has is their brand identity. So the first focus business-wise is how we are going to protect that brand. So how we're going to be doing it. First, or what we have been doing it from my experience on these weeks and what I've seen in the different industries. First is put the consumer at the center. Understand the consumer, understand their needs, understand what they're going through in these days. To give you an example, we identified together with our department stores partners that during these days, part of the focus is being comfortable. So everything that goes towards being comfortable at your home was succeeding expectations. Dishwashers were increasing sales by 2,000%. I already mentioned the air fryers. We shift our focus from running shoes, because you run outside, we shifted to hoodies and sweatpants and sandals. So it's making sure that we cater to their needs. Also, as well, keep true to your core values. For us, it's about technology, innovation on sporting apparel, but as well being there for the community, being there for fighting for equality. Shift attention to where consumers are and be agile. For me, the best example is Formula One. Formula One racing went to a halt because they were supposed to start in March. What they did is that they started putting their pilots to play PlayStation, and they were streaming it online on ESPN, and you had all these people around the world just going to Twitter and seeing these guys still interacting with the brand, still buying merchandise. So they were as agile as that. Peloton as well. Peloton started selling their product and as well start doing all-star rides on Sunday nights and Saturday nights. So people will connect, compete with them, or just watch it. So it's more about that agility. Being relevant. And being relevant means maximize the opportunities that you have in the business without seeming opportunistic. And this is really important. This is something that we really hold to close to our hearts at Under Armour, for example, is the pandemic began and we said, you know what, I'm not going to start discounting. All the different brands start discounting. And for us, it seemed, you know what, you guys are trying to maximize by just pushing products on the people. For us, it's during these times, we don't need to encourage people going out. to exercise or spending their money while we don't know what's going to happen in the short-term future. Of course, things evolve. It's 3 months. The whole industry, especially in the retail, has gone towards discounts. So we follow. In these cases, when we are talking about aggressive commercial campaigns, discounting, impulsing people to consumption, it's not always good being the leader. This is a space where sometimes you don't want to be the first one out there. We know that in marketing, they say that the one that hits first hits twice, but this is not one of those times. And the other one is focus on service and experience, is how we are making sure that we're giving top-notch experience, whether it's online, whether it's in the few stores that are opening right now that the world is coming back to normality. So it's more on that end. In terms of being true to the value and being relevant, there is an opportunity. Of course, we know it. And as a customer that I had in the past, he always said that when people cry, what you have to be selling is tissue. So this is one of the examples. I mean, we are being relevant. Under Armour is producing a sports mask, but being true to the value is not just a mask. It has a reason to exist, a benefit behind that particular performance product to exercise now that people is starting to go out. And it wasn't launched in March. The product was ready in March. And actually the company was doing take-down version of these masks to give away to the Johns Hopkins Hospital, to the Maryland University hospitals, and to the first responders. But it's about being relevant and being at the right moment at the right time. March was not the time to be saying, hey guys, go out and run and use the mask and you will be partially protected. No, it was time to support the first responders. Right now that we are moving forward, it's okay. It's time to come out with this. As I was mentioning, as well, Formula One. I mean, these guys were doing PlayStations. My parents were telling me when I was a kid that I was getting nowhere by doing PlayStation, and look at these guys. Peloton as well. It's about being there, being connected, and what people is right now craving these days is that connection, that sense of community, that being out, just interacting with people. And for us as well, being relevant, doing campaigns about training at home, making sure that people is not going out, but we want a healthy community. It's part of our values. Also, in these times, without looking opportunistic, it's about being there in the right moments when it matters the most. For us, one of our core values, of our 10 core values, is we stand for equality. So as well, on all these Black Lives Matter movement, is not about selling product, is not about placing ads out there, is making sure that we are adding value to the community there. And as well, being where the consumer is. Right now, these past months, at least in Latin America, has been digital. And it's not about discounts. Of course, there are some discounts and there are promotions, but it's more about giving information, how to keep healthy at home. What are the trainings that you can do without weights, that you just need a yoga mat. So it's about engaging with your consumers on what matters to them. So that's how basically we are seeing the protection of the brand in terms of making sure that you come stronger out of this with a stronger awareness, stronger brand consideration, that your consumers, customers have you top of mind on what you have been doing for the days and the pandemic. Then the business. And the business is just about keeping the business flowing, because we all have payrolls to pay, we have bills to pay, and we need just to keep doing the business. So again, and I know that I'm saying this from a bigger public company point of view, but it's with the customers, for you guys that provide services. It's about being close, being empathic, and listening. You have no idea how many times a day I'm on the phone for an hour with different customers or different persons from the same customer, the sales director, the purchasing director, the finance director, understanding and listening to them and putting out their options on what can we do. One that I love that I've been seeing the bigger companies, P&G, Pepsi, Coca-Cola, is when all the pandemic started, they called all their smaller vendors and say, let me know all the outstanding invoices, even though if they're still within the credit limit that I have of 90 days, 120 payment days, give me everything, and we are in a position with cash to support you because we need you stronger. So they were injecting cash at their vendors to make sure that they are ready and they come out stronger out of this pandemic. Then define a phase approach for the pandemic. We cannot do everything. We can do anything. We cannot do everything at the same time. So at the point is making sure that we tackle this by pieces. There is a chaos phase, there's going to be a recovery phase, and there's going to be a consolidation phase. So how we do this on different timings, depending on the different communities, depending on the different countries, government laws. So it's more about understanding that phase, especially when you have nationwide customers. In an example, I mean, Mexico manages itself in terms of politics similar to the US, where you have a central government, but then each of the local governments can put their own rules. So right now we have the central government saying, yes, guys, open everything. And then each of the local governments are saying on a weekly basis, yes, you can open, no, you cannot open, or yes, you open in 2 days, you guys close it all. So it's more on focusing in understanding that those phases on a really particular approach. Obsessed with short-term results. At the end of the day, it's about what's driving the business right now and taking actions right now that is going to help us and allow us to go through this and reassess your targets. At the end of the day, for example, for us in Mexico, what we're seeing in the industry is the pandemic put us 2 years behind of our initial plan. So for us, it's like going back on time to 2018 and understanding, okay, what we were doing there, and as well, what were the resources that we had there. So it's not a company from 2020, it's a company that we had on 2018 or even before. So understanding what were the targets, what were the resources, what were the expenditures, what were the investments, and making sure that we reassess that properly, and we're doing it as well on a weekly basis. Then shift the resources where the business is, just focusing especially on digital and the smaller stores that are opening on places which is safe. Being disruptive, it's the time to do things differently than the competition, different than in the past, to make sure that we can keep flowing, and at the end of the day, cash is king. So customers that can pay you guys earlier, and you can leverage on that, even if it has an early payment discount, cash on hand is king on these times. And with vendors that are not smaller, that are on a bigger scale, that you can get that support from them as well, that it will help you to get a healthy balance sheet and cash flow at the end of the day. So for us, what we are doing is that we are setting up with the customers like a 3-phase approach. The fight was basically what we had in the past, just before coronavirus. Then the fall is how we are retreating in terms of aggressiveness in the marketplace and understanding how we are coping with this situation that we didn't know. I mean, we were basically on a boxing match, winning rounds after round after round. So January, February, and then came March, and we got an uppercut and put us on the floor. So it's, okay, how, guys, we take a breath, we let the referee count down to 8, and then we stand up, and then we come with a comeback plan. It's understanding that we are weathering the storm, then we consolidate, and for example, for us, consolidation is Q4 this year, and then we start winning on Q2 next year. So it's not about changing the plan, it's about reassessing it and refacing it. If you have a solid plan, if you have a solid strategy, that strategy will endure. It's more on different timings. Continuous track of results. I mean, I have my team doing these type of charts on a daily basis. On a daily basis, we are focusing on what we sold, what didn't sell, what we need to make sure that it's on promotion, what we need to replenish. at this point, making sure that you are agile, that you are there for your customers, that you are putting your products or your services out there 24/7 is what's going to be the key. And overinvest where your consumers are. At this moment is digital. So it's more on focusing on digital, and this is what we're learning on what the different brands that are being successful are winning. We're seeing again Uber Eats, Postmates, all these food delivery or service delivery companies, Peloton, the Mirror. So right now, and what we're seeing in Latin America is because we need to focus on the positives, is that the consumers and the pandemic got the consumers 3 to 5 years in advance in terms of the digital transformation and the embrace of digital technologies. So that's all from the business side of what I'm seeing and what we are doing. Now, going back to inside of the house, inside of the company, the team. A worried team won't ever perform. So it's more how we keep them calm, how we keep them focused on what matters. And I mean, at the end, there are things that we can control, there are things that we cannot control. So it's more on how we keep that. Of course, there are going to be worries. Of course, there are going to be concerns. There is going to be anxiety. But it's how we diminish that as the leaders. So for us, the key attitudes as a leader, and this is something I was doing some free trainings actually that are online from Harvard Business School, and there's one really cool in leadership. And it's more about first over-communicate. What we need is to make sure that the team understands, while there is information that you cannot share with them right away, that as much information as can be shared is being shared on a timely manner. Making sure that we are available. One thing that I'm doing with my team is that I have, we use WebEx, but I have a Zoom session open all day long. And it's like the door of my office. They can connect, I'm there. If they need, I close it so nobody else getting in, similar to closing the door of my office. And we have the conversation. Then I open again. If I'm in a meeting, I'll close it because, guys, sorry, I'm on a phone call or something like that, similar to right now. So it's over communication and being accessible to your teammates, what's helping to keep those levels of anxiety down. Being resilient. Of course, as well, we are as well anxious, we're all stressed out, but we cannot show panic to them, and making sure that we're focusing on the positive. Okay, guys, you know what? The business is going down 50%, but we learned that from that 50% that is growing, all is coming from digital. So what we increase is the service, is the conversion rate on the website. So that's a building block for next year's business. Just making sure that those volumes that we manage in digital stays there, and we just add on top the business from the brick and mortars. So it's focus. Always there is a silver lining. So getting there, making sure we increase our conversion rate on Instagram and the brand awareness by 10 points. Okay, perfect. This is another win. So making sure that we are communicating and we are celebrating those small wins is as well key. Also, keep them busy. The worst thing that we can do is letting our team wander by themselves, just making sure that just thinking that they have nothing to do, because that's what's creating more anxiety. Or you know what, I have nothing to do, the business is going bad, I'm going to be fired at the end of the month. That's usually the train of thought. So what we're doing is that we're making sure, and we're doing this as well with our customers, we are training them in our services, in our products, in our technologies. So we are getting really good feedback of this from our customers, because they have, again, 1,000 stores. So the staff of 1,000 stores is at their houses. So it's more, okay, how we give you guys training, how we make sure that you have all the tools for when we come back to reality, you get all the tools to explode sales and continue winning. Inside of the offices, guys, there are some corporate trainings that I want you to do, and we put them on a weekly schedule, and every Monday the leadership team, we connect and we check, okay, how are we on the attrition, on the acceptance of these trainings? making sure that all the work that you wanted to do in the past, now we have the time. So I give small projects to each of my teams. Okay, guys, we need this type of reports. We need this type of engagement. We need these types of presentations. That is helping us as well to keep them busy and making sure that we are advancing on things that in the past we couldn't be doing because we were on the point of sales, looking at how the performance was, meeting customers. So it's more on how to keep them busy, and as well, all the corporate paperwork that we all hate. So more than trainings, evaluations, assessments, expense reports. So everything that we're doing is making sure that some things that most of the people will have 2 or 3 months delayed. Okay, guys, this is the time to make sure that you do this, that you do the assessment, that you fill all your integrated development plans for HR. It's just making sure that you keep them busy. An open space to socialize, similar to the consumers. They're craving time with other people, and they are at home with their families. That was super cool the first 6 weeks. At some point, you need to see somebody else. What we're doing is similar to what you see in this picture. Every Friday, we have a happy hour online, and it has a theme. So it's masks, it's hats, it's costumes. So and the only rule is you guys cannot speak about business. That's the only rule that there is. So other Friday, I will send pizzas to my team's house, and we will connect and talk about the business, but more on a relaxed environment. So it's more on that end, making sure that we are not going to cover it fully, but we fulfill that craving of external interaction. Manage the team's energy, and this is really, really, really important, is not everybody is going to be on the same boat in terms of agreeing with you how you are going to be managing the situation, how you're doing the communication. But it's key to identify those people and make sure that you bring them even closer. Is that old proverb that says keep your enemies closer? Is here keep them noisemakers closer? Because those guys are the ones that create more anxiety in the team, because they are going to go on back channels and communicate different stuff it's even worse with the more junior teammates that you might have. So it's more on how we control the team's overall energy by muting or making sure that we are assessing this person, because it's not about keeping people quiet, it's making sure that the message is controlled and we are all aware of what the message is happening. And the last one is be understanding. We are going to be on calls like this, and thank God it hasn't happened, but my 3-year toddler could be opening the door and say, hey, what are you doing? And I don't know if you guys saw a few months ago, a guy was on a CNN interview and the kids were storming around. You are going to hear the dogs happening. At some point you say, well, you have an 8 to 5. If you are not even on traffic, why you are not available at 8? Well, you know what, kids are not in school, so both parents have to support on making breakfast, doing the dishes, cleaning a little bit. So it's more on being understanding on those type of offense that has helped us. When we, in the past, would put a tougher grip on people working from home, they will work 8 to 5 and that's it. And it was actually more friction than in the past. Right now that we have been relaxed, and as well the team has demonstrated that they are mature enough to be working from home, that being not supervised 24/7, it has been a complete different experience for the management and for the team as well. But it all opens in that understanding point of view. And it's a two-way street. At some point it's like, hey guys, you know what? I need, instead of meeting at 8 a.m., I need you to stretch it and let's meet at 7, because you know what? At 8, I have a Zoom appointment with my kids' teacher just to see how the year is wrapping up. Okay, no worries. On the other side, it's like, dude, you know what? I need to take 1.5 hours of lunch because I need to cook it, I need to eat it, and I need to do the dishes. So it's more on that mutual understanding that it's going to make them actually put on the t-shirt and actually give that extra mile. And then, as I mentioned in the opening, the biggest, the most neglected piece is ourselves. So how we take care of ourselves. For me, is first, discipline is key to keep moving forward. So discipline in how you manage your business, how you manage your interactions with your customers, the expectations from the team, and your interactions in your house. First is focusing on the goal. As I mentioned, the goal, the strategy doesn't change. It's being flexible on how we execute and how we assess that, that timing. Set boundaries while working from home. So it's about keeping a routine. If you guys have lunch at 12 every day and you stand up from your desk and go and have a lunch and then come back at 12:45, 1, keep doing it. Just stand up from your desk, go to the kitchen, do it in the kitchen. Because if not, you are going to end up working 17 hours a day. I'm sure most of you can relate that since all this started, everybody thinks that we're working more than when we were to the office. And achieving probably the same or a little bit less. So it's more about setting those boundaries and making sure that we stick to it. Even if you got delayed, at 7 p.m., I'm giving a bath to my children. So at 7 a.m., at 7 p.m., I close everything that I'm doing. I give my children a bath, we put them to sleep, and then if I need to continue. But keeping those things that are important with your family for you are key to ensure that you don't feel that overwhelmed. Then mental health is a priority, and focusing on what you can control. If Trump opened the border or not, it's not something that you guys can control. Okay, if my customer opens the stores or not, no. But if we create a digital strategy, if I do those daily touch points with my customers and with my teams, okay, those are the things that we can control, and those are the things that value. And focusing on mental health, and I know also another buzzword lately is that mindfulness. But to give you a perspective, we have a weekly global session of meditation doing via Zoom with a psychologist, and it allows the team to connect those for 15 minutes. It's not more than that. Then what we did is that we did a survey at the beginning of the pandemic when we started seeing everything going south, then at the middle, and then last week, and the engagement of the energy of the team on a scale to 0 to 100 increased 7.3%. So those 15 minutes every 2 weeks, when you get a guide us and say, guys, breathe in, breathe out, everything is going to flow, focusing on this, is proven to work. I personally, I embraced it and I do it 10 minutes every morning. There are a couple of apps for that. And that helps you to breathe in, breathe out, and say, okay, let's focus on what I really can control. Keep active. At the end, it doesn't matter if it is going for a walk every 2 days, going for an isolated forest and do a quick hike, getting the dog, getting sun and getting vitamin D. For most that, I'm not a doctor, but and it's probably the most that your doctors tell you, is something that is key. And also take the time to improve your skills. It's a good time for those non-finance that go online and do a finance for non-finance, leadership training. So there are lots of multiple resources online nowadays. LinkedIn came with LinkedIn University. Harvard Business School has some trainings. MIT Business School has some trainings. So go there, improve your skills, because also will help you to identify which of your teammates are as well missing those skills, and then identify which of these trainings and circle back to the other point of the circle, and is keep them busy and keeping them trained. So at the end of the day, it's more on making sure that you invest this time of you and your training and your team to get trained, because the worst thing for a business is that neither you or your team gets trained and you stay on the business, because you are going to definitely mismanage it. And then just to close, a sentence that a friend of mine said a couple of months ago, after when we closed this circle, is people won't remember what you guys did during the pandemic. They won't remember if you were calling them at 3 p.m. every day or at 5 p.m. every day. They will remember how you made them feel. They will remember that you were close, that you were empathic, that you were helping them to get through this. So that's what people are going to remember. They're not going to remember the PowerPoint deck. They're not going to remember the call or your tone or your exact words. But this is what I'm getting as well from my customers. They are like, guys, you are the most constant and consistent company supporting us, that you are guys always there, that you are taking care of the business and you are taking care of the action. So it's more about how we're making feel and how these feelings come to mind when we do business, because at the end, sales, finance, investment, whatever, it's a people's skill. Of course, the technical skills, the financial modeling, everything is there, but it's more about that person-to-person interaction that is going to make us, making sure that is going to make us go through the, navigate through these times and being actually stronger when we get out of this. So that's all that I had, guys. So thank you for listening. And if you have any comments, questions, or even insights from your own industries, please share.
That was absolutely fabulous. I took so many notes, unbelievable. I know that Marisol had raised her hand. Remember, if you have questions, you can type them in the question box or chat into the group. But Marisol, do you want to ask your question?
No, I wanted to do a comment. Thank you, Danielle. I think it was a really great presentation. No disappointment there. Sarah, I wanted to give thank you to the chamber. I believe the chamber is an example, a local example of everything Danielle has been talking about. You guys have kept communication open. You have kept people informed of everything that is happening, have been a great partner to the businesses. So thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Chastity, Troy, all the chamber. And I believe you really embody at this time what Danielle is talking.
Wow. Well, that was thoughtful. Thank you very, very much. We are definitely working hard. I did want to ask, I do have a question. I don't know if I'm going to be able to articulate this right, but you talked about the fight, the fall, and the comeback, which I think is, I love that analogy. And you talked about, your phases of getting through this. I don't know if I'm the only one or not that doesn't know when to go to the next phase, because it's like, we talked about the business before this happened, right? The fall, which is when this happened, but is the comeback now, or, are we shutting back down? There's so much in limbo. Is there another phase in between, or maybe other people can have their answers as well, but start with you as well.
What we're seeing is that, and it connects completely when I mentioned be agile, because it's a matter of on a daily or weekly basis understanding, because yes, you're going to have, and you probably are going to rush to that comeback phase whenever people say, you know what, open up all the businesses. But then the consumers are not going to be there. So it's more on how you connect that opening and then the consumers going and making sure that they are ready and that you are ready. To give you a perspective, we are not ready yet as a comeback, because of course, with all this, we end up with a lot of inventory that we were supposed to sell in March, April, May, and June, and we didn't sell. So our comeback is not until we get out and we clear all of this inventory, then we come with a more aggressive product strategy, marketing strategy. But we need just to make sure that we protect our finance. So it's part of as I was mentioning, letting the referee count to 8 so you get enough air back in your system, and making sure, and that 8, that's something that you are going to be seeing and measuring on a weekly, daily basis, because there's definitely not a flag going up and say, okay, guys, go back to business right away.
Right. Wendy. Oh, you have to unmute. Let me try and unmute you.
Unmute.
Okay, there you go.
I have it now. Okay, well, I think that in every business, the comeback has to be timed differently depending on the business. In my own business, I am just starting now, reaching out to those clients that were on the cusp of leaving their home and going maybe to assisted living or independent living. So I'm reaching out to them now. I guess I started end of June, where I felt it was time that I could reach out. So you know, that's my idea, is that you got to feel it in your own business and what you're doing.
Right.
Agree.
Who else? There's a lot of like bravo comments, that's for sure. I have to go through, there's so many comments. I hope you can see all these comments. Any other questions? You guys want to shout out, throw your hand up? I do like, I wrote down a few things. I really like the Zoom, open Zoom meeting. Who else, does anyone else do that on this call? I mean, I think that's brilliant. Just keeping it open. You know, this was definitely, I really like what you talked about, not looking opportunistic. I think right now it could absolutely ruin a company if they try to take advantage of a situation without being real about it. So, I mean, there's just been some really amazing things said today, so I really appreciate it. If there's nothing else, I will remind you of tomorrow's meeting, which is the tourism. There'll be an update on the tourism industry, but we've got like every expert at Discover the Palm Beaches on the panel to talk about the tourism industry. So it should be very interesting. That, I believe, is at 10 o'clock. And then we have our SWIB with Martine Pierre-Paul on Thursday, right? Next Thursday, perfect. So keep an eye out for our calendars. There are definitely some major updates that just keep happening. So watch on social media. We try and send you a major update email if it does pertain to closures or mandates in our area. But, you know, I appreciate you all being here. Also take advantage of our marketing. You know, if you put things on social media, tag the chamber, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, tag us, and we will share your content. So there's a lot of marketing benefits at no charge just by being a member of our chamber that you should definitely be taking advantage of right now. And other than that, Daniel, thank you so much. That was awesome. Enjoy your two little kids. I know we have an eight-month-old. You have an 8-month-old and an almost 3-year-old. So squeeze them tight. And it was great to see all you guys. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.